It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that was on my watch. Yeah, I said,
the Grizz, they live to play another day. Tonight, by the way, NFL Draft Night. Russell Copeland will be here, bottom of the hour. Jarvis Gurry will talk about that in the Showboats. He's the last segment of the day, and we got a little special thing coming up in a bit. Steve Earhart's going to join us in about 12 minutes or so. And I don't know if you folks are aware of this, but the Bulls all met last week, and they have come up with the way the schedule is going to run, not next year, because next year is the last year of the setup with the playoffs as we know them, but there are going to be different dates for the 12 teams that make the playoffs, and we'll go over those. We'll get an update on the stadium. I'm going to ask him also about the health of the bowl system now that the playoffs are around the corner. So we'll get into that in about, like I said, 12 minutes or so. Gives us time to talk a little bit about the game last night. What a game. This time the Grizzlies took over, and really the turning point in the game is at the end of the third quarter. The Grizz go on a 19-2 run. And I will confess this, the Los Angeles Lakers looked tired. Now, coming into this game, I had the sense, because I heard reports about how, like, on the team playing, every L.A. guy, mainly LeBron, AD, who've played a lot of minutes and are not exactly young in the tooth, and particularly LeBron, were all getting a lot of treatment, that they were bruised, they were tired, their legs were not 100%. And so the Grizzlies forced the Lakers into playing LeBron and AD about 35 minutes last night. That is really to the benefit of the Grizzlies in the long run. LeBron, what was our keys? For me, it was don't let him penetrate. He really did not penetrate. He ended up, I think, 5 of 17 last night. I mean, if you look at his line, it's still a good line, except for the shooting percentages. And at the end of the game, he looked really tired. He did not look like himself. In the meantime, the Grizz backcourt looked young and fresh. Bane and Morant, 64 points combined, 20 rebounds, 12 assists. And then you add Triple J, and you had 3 guys who had double-doubles last night. I think that's the first time this combination has had double-doubles, all 3 of them, or all 3 played at a pretty good level. Jackson had a bad first half, but he was terrific in the second. All 3 combined to play so well. That was my second key. The first one was perimeter, make him shoot outside LeBron. The other was you had to have contributions from your big 3. That is exactly what you got. And the Grizz win going away by 17, 116-99. By the way, in the 2 wins, you'll notice the Lakers didn't score 100 points. That could be a big key for Game 6. And there was a lot of hope around FedEx Forum leaving last night that the Grizz could pull off the unbelievable odds against them. Because coming into that game, 258 teams had been down 3-1. Only 13, 5% had succeeded. 95% didn't make it. Did last night, J-Mo, did that swing momentum enough? Do you think the Grizzlies can win this series now? Can they win 3 in a row?
I don't think so. But I didn't have much faith they could win the series when the series started either. I think whether the Grizzlies win the next game or not, well, if they lose the next game, then they're done. But I think whether they win the next game or not, I just don't see the Lakers dropping the series.
You had the Lakers in 7. I had the Lakers in 6. I will tell you this. I don't think the Grizz will lose at home to this team. And here's the one part of the equation that gives me hope for Memphis is I did not see, because there's so much body management loading now, load management. I just didn't see that they would get this tired. But all that travel, it's not like you're going like Sacramento and Golden State taking buses to the games. You are traveling, even though I know it's charters, which are very easy with first-class seats and first-class everything. I think the older team is feeling the stress of it all. And last night, the key for me, J-Mo, I think for everybody, was Taylor Jenkins decided to go with a small lineup, essentially 4 guards, including Luke Kennard, who, even though he didn't play that many minutes, I think it was 18 minutes and got hurt, he only hit 2 threes in the game. You know what his plus-minus was?
It had to be huge.
Plus 26.
Yeah.
That spacing really hurt them. The Lakers had to really move. That also tired them out because now you could keep up with them on transition because that's been a big key there. And I think they only had 1 or 2 more points in transition, fast break points, than Memphis did. I think that small lineup really helped Memphis. They went on a 10-1 run at the end of I think it was the second quarter to build a halftime lead. It was based on that small lineup. They used it again when they had a nice the defining run at the end. They did not play Dylan Brooks in that. Dylan Brooks, by the way, of all the starters on the Memphis team, he's the only one who was -7. He was, again, awful. They dared him to shoot, and he is very happy to take a quick 3 with 14 seconds, 15 seconds, 16 seconds on the shot clock. He'll take a 3. Because you know why? He's wide open. And you know why he's wide open? Because they let him be wide open. If he can't hit shots and he's not defending like he was earlier this year, maybe it's the matchups. Maybe the old man, who he didn't respect, has too much for him. But Tillman's been the guy that stopped LeBron, not Dylan Brooks. And you sit here and you say to yourself, if Brooks can't hit shots, and if Brooks is not defending at an elite level, why are you playing him? And that's exactly what Taylor Jenkins recognized, and that's why when he went with the small lineup, he went with Kennard, Morant, Bane, Tyus Jones, and Triple J at some points. He also brought in Xavier Tillman at a point. I think he substituted one of the smalls with Conchar at one point, but it worked. And I think it's helping to wear down the Lakers, who are clearly the much older team. That's the only reason I'm saying to you, there's hope that they could actually win in L.A. And if they come back for a Game 7 here, I don't think there's any chance they're going to lose that game. That game, by the way, Friday night, late 9:30 here. Lakers already established as a 4.5-point favorite. So, my assessment, you buy or you don't buy?
Maybe a little of both. I tend to not buy it, though.
Make the case for the Lakers.
Well, I just don't think the Grizzlies can. Xavier Tillman's playing great. He's doing best he can. He's doing a great job. He's had spurts where he's had to guard great players on the other team, and he's done a formidable job. He's doing what they ask him to do to the best of his ability. There's just no way, in my mind, that a team that plays that guy. I mean, a guy that won't play any minutes. He's third-string center. He's playing last night he played over 30 minutes. The game before that he played over 40 minutes. I just don't see a team being competitive in the NBA playoffs when a guy like Xavier Tillman is playing those significant minutes.
Well, Austin Reeves started the year as a two-way guy in the G League.
But Austin Reeves though earned those minutes with spectacular play down the half stretch of the season, where Xavier Tillman just came into those minutes due to, crippling injuries for the Grizzlies.
That's agreed upon, and he is the third-string center. And if those two guys were here, we talk about the back end of the rotation. Truth is, Tillman wouldn't be playing. Conchar wouldn't be playing probably. But I don't know. I think something swung with that that smaller lineup, and the fatigue. We'll find out if they can beat the odds. And again, I will point out, these are big odds. We're talking about 95% of the time the team up 3-1 wins. I think you agree with me on this. Game 6 is a critical game.
You certainly rather be playing that closeout game where you have a chance to win or go home at home.
Do you think LeBron looked tired last night? Now, you can't say AD did because AD with 31 and 19 again with I don't know. I think it was only 2 blocks this time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he looked tired. But like you said, if there's reports he's getting treatment on the plane, extra treatment than normal, he's obviously going through some aches and pains, that attrition over the course of a series. So, maybe there is an argument for that. But
well, they also did what I thought they would do because they know of this fatigue. There was 6 or 7 minutes left in the game. They kept AD in, but they took LeBron out, and he put on his warm-ups. It was like waving the white flag. The Grizzlies went up 25, and I think they came back. They brought them together for one shot. They might have moved it to 20. When it went up back like to 22, they said, okay, we're going to rest him the rest of the way. And then a couple of minutes later, they took out AD. I actually thought that might happen in the whole fourth quarter. I really did. But they didn't quite surrender as early as I thought they might, just to save legs. And I believe LeBron played 35 minutes, and I think AD did as well. Now, I don't think AD he's not as old, obviously, as LeBron, but LeBron looked like he was laboring last night in my mind. And he didn't even try to penetrate. So that key that we talked about, the 3 guys from Memphis had to really play good. They played their best game yet. And you had to stop LeBron from penetration, make him shoot outside, and they did. They accomplished that. What were your keys in that one?
Well, I didn't have so much keys as I was giving a game plan for what I think I would do in that situation. So, and they did not do either thing that I said they would do. So I was 0 for 2 in that regard.
Okay. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. Another reminder, and I hear they're knocking it out of the ballpark at I-40 and Whidden Road. Don't forget this vacation at home sale because you're getting the lowest prices on pools in town, and you get free liner upgrades during this thing. Spas are up to $1,000 off. That's in stock, and they got plenty. And again, it's the vacation at home sale. That means play gyms are under $2,000. There's special financing available. And if you mention us, Wolo, Sports 56, JMO even, you're going to get 50% off any installation. That's really important on those play gyms. Please head over to I-40 and Whidden Road. And our title sponsor, it's Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where that G70, that little sports car, that luxury rocket ship, I call it, that has this new enticing little bit for you. If you go see Vinny Gerard, he's over the Genesis cars. You say, hey, I heard from Wolo, if I finance with Genesis, why wouldn't you? Good rate. You get $1,000 rebate. Please go check it out. Go see Vinny. Tell him we sent you and take advantage of the $1,000 rebate. They're paying you to do business with them at Homer Skelton Hyundai. So I mentioned earlier last week there were the bowl meetings somewhere out of town. They set a new schedule for the new, not next season, but 24 when the new playoff thing comes in. Steve Earhart was there, front and center. I don't know if you were part of the lobby, if you got up and filibustered or anything like that. But what did we find out? What happened at these meetings?
Well, there was certainly a lot of discussion about all the issues surrounding college football, NIL and portals and sponsorships and that kind of thing. But the main upshot of the meetings was that the AutoZone Liberty Bowl we're going to be in great shape for a couple of reasons. Number one, in 2024, that's when most of these changes go into effect. Not this fall, but in 24. And of course, Oklahoma and Texas join the SEC, which gives us 2 more teams to have choices from on one side of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. And then the 4 new teams going into the Big 12, So there'll be some more choices there coming out of the Big 12.
We
But-
really don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. Okay, I won't talk about it. But here's the schedule. Now it might be somewhat of a change, but this is somewhat new here. So think forward into December of 24. Not 18 months from now is when the new playoff occurs in college football, and so the committee will choose the same top 12 teams. The 6 top conferences get a bye, so that should help University of Memphis here. They ought to be their champion ought to be the highest ranked every year, which gives Memphis a great opportunity to be in that 12-team playoff. And then as it affects the Autos and Liberty Bowl, that's the same 12 teams that we have not had access to over the last 15 years. So we'll have choices there right in after those 12 teams. So it'll be the same types of teams that populate our bowl year to year. But here's the proposed schedule here. So think forward now, David. I know you've got that computer mind here. So think into December of 24. You'll have the Army-Navy game the week after the championship conference game.
So those championship games have been now the first Saturday of December. I'm imagining that will continue the same way?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then you have Army-Navy keeps their weekend in after that. Then on the week following, which would be December 14th, 2024, you'll have the Army-Navy is on the 14th.
Yeah, right.
I want to make sure I'm doing this. Army-Navy is scheduled on the 14th, December 2024. Then you'll go to the first round of the playoffs. The first 4 selections get a bye. And then number 5 hosts number 12, number 6 hosts number 11, so on down. Those are the first 4 games, and they'll be played on the campuses of those number 5, 6, 7, and 8 on December 21st, which is the third Saturday there.
Yep.
And then you go, and then you've got a 10-day break there from that Saturday to the end of the year and it's a Tuesday and Wednesday of December 31st and January 1st. The current plan, and they're still working out with the television folks, to have one of those quarterfinal games on December 31st and 3 of those quarterfinal games on January 1st. Okay, so that's the second round, or what we'd call the quarterfinals, and then you skip to into January for the semifinal games. By that time, there's only 4 teams left, so they're looking now to put those on basically kind of the middle of the week, probably January 8th or 9th in prime time settings, because obviously everybody's looking for big money in a prime time game, and those games will be in what we now call the old BCS bowls or the CFP bowl games. So there's those 6 bowl games. You've got Orange, Sugar, Peach. I'm missing their sponsors. Cotton, Rose, and Fiesta. So 2 of those games will be the semifinals, and 4 of those games will be the quarterfinals, and that'll take place. They're looking at maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday evening prime time on around. Again, now we're January 8th or 9th of 25.
All right.
And here's the kicker then is 10 days later, it won't be a full 2 weeks like the NFL does, but their plan is to have the championship game on Monday night, Martin Luther King Day, which would be Monday, January 20th, 2025.
Wow. So you're basically looking at almost 7 weeks, because if we go back to the December, I guess it's December 7th, right? The first,
that's correct.
That's championship weekend. So you're starting your postseason, your championship on December the 7th, and you're not ending it until January 20th. So it's really 6 weeks total of a lot of action, minus that second week, which is the Army-Navy game, which I guess you start with a bang. You got like a little pause there. You got tradition and history, and then it really goes full bear.
Yes, and that's why there was such a debate, because at the college level, and of course, the academic issues and presidents, that kind of thing, for at least those two teams that make it all the way to January 20th, that's a long period of time. That's, as you pointed out, that's an extra 6-7 weeks from the championship game. But most of those teams had been playing in the bowl games, and the two playoff final teams, they've been playing in the championship game, which has usually been January 9th or 10th, somewhere like that. So it does, for those two teams, it does extend it another 8 or 10 games to get in that extra round. But the key for us at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl is that even though there's going to be a lot of attention on that, there's a very significant push to make sure that bowls like ours are still healthy and solid, and we have access, because
I'm glad
there's a
you
need
said
for
that.
teams to that.
I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to ask you, honestly, do you really feel the health of bowls like yours, other bowls that are not a part of the playoff rotation? Is the bowl system still healthy?
Yes, because you'll have universities, and I just picked the last few years of schools we've had in Oregon. How often is Mississippi State or Arkansas, Kentucky, or these kind of schools, are they going to have an opportunity to play? Are they going to be picked to the top 12? To be very frank, I think the top 12 is really be concentrated. It's going to be the Ohio States, the Alabamas, and now the Southern Cals and Texases, and these kind of schools that just have so much power, so much money, and so much tradition that they're going to dominate those 12 slots. So there's still a strong need to have, again, bowls like this. Maybe if a few of those ESPN bowls down at the bottom of the barrel who don't seem to put much emphasis on some of those games, and there has been some difficulty with getting attention there early in the middle of December. But we've been assured, and I really believe that now there's going to be some opt-outs, which that's been happening for the last many years. That some of those players that want to opt out. But we've discussed too, is NIL going to really fit in? I know, for example, most of the colleges now figuring out that their collectives, they need to make sure that the money that's being paid to players, it's for the entire season, not just the regular season. It would include the bowl season as well. So yes, I feel very good about that fact that those kind of schools, they want a bowl game experience for their players. They want the extra practice time. The coaches want to get their bonuses. So yes, I feel good about the long-term future of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
All right, last thing, give me an update, because you were part of those meetings with the stadium. I believe, my understanding is, as soon as the AutoZone Liberty Bowl is done, they start knocking down that press box and working on what would be the west side of the stadium.
Oh, absolutely, and they're moving full speed. I think we have another meeting next week. We've had several meetings. There's plenty of architects and engineers and planners, and they're moving very fast, working with Populous, the company out of Kansas City that does so many stadiums. And yeah, I think they'll be ready to move concrete and dirt right after our game. We'll be playing this year probably, that isn't finalized yet, probably on the 29th, Friday the 29th. So they'll be ready to move very quickly after that. So it's moving along good, and I give a lot of credit to Mayor Jim Strickland and his team. They're moving it fast, got the approvals through the legislature, and so it's full speed ahead. So the stadium should really be a terrific improvement for all the fans.
I know. Laird Veach was talking about how important that might be when the next dominoes fall for conferences that might expand. Thank you, Steve. We appreciate it.
Wait a minute. The main thing we got to talk about is our great friend Memphis and Jerry Lawler. We're honoring the King here on it'll be the evening of June 4th at the Hilton with and I want people in Memphis to really appreciate it. No, a lot of people know him just as rest, but Jerry, a native Memphis, this is his 53 years of competition. He's won 186 championships. He's been a guy well known. In fact, the Gold Star Families group, they're in our office right here today. They're from out of town, and they were looking at the brochure about Jerry Lawler, and they're from all over the country. Oh, Jerry Lawler, we all know Jerry.
Everybody knows Jerry. There's no doubt.
A great career. So we're honoring him with our Distinguished Citizen Award on June 4th. That nice dinner. we'll have some highlights from his long career, and he'll be speaking. And so we want Memphians to have a chance to come out and welcome Jerry. And then if you want to play golf the next day on June 5th at Southwind, where Southwind will be getting ready to host the their championships there, and so you'll have a chance to play that prestigious course. But really do want to get the word. So any of you fans who want to come out and meet and talk to Jerry, please give us a call at our office or get on our website. But give us a call at 795-7700, 795-7700, and we want to make sure and honor Jerry. He's a great Memphian. He could have lived anywhere in the country. He had his business and his announcing all over the country, but he's a local Memphis native that stayed here and makes his home here, and won a great career over 50 years of championships.
No doubt. Thank you, Steve. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you before that dinner, I'm sure. That is
Thank you.
Mr. E, Steve Earhart, Big Cheese, head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. He's brought to you by Conway. Beat the rush by scheduling that $69 air conditioning super tune-up. 16 points. They do it. They make you efficient. And that means you're going to avoid costly breakdowns during the hottest months of the year. Keep your family cool all year long. Save money on your MLGW bill. And keep your system lasting longer by tuning it up, 384-3511, or visit conwayservices.com. Back in a minute, we talk NFL draft with our NFL guru. That's Russell Copeland, and he comes your way in a minute.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Regions Bank presents Live at the Garden at Radians Amphitheater June 3rd with Lady A. This summer's lineup also includes Matchbox 20, Brothers Osborne, Doobie Brothers with Michael McDonald and Train. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Live at the Garden is also presented by Duncan Williams Asset Management, AutoZone, True Green, Gossett Motors, The Lilly Company, Pro Show, and Mahaffey Events. For more information, go to RadiansAmp.com.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
When I say hot wings, the first flavor that pops into your head is buffalo, right? Well, let the Crazy Coop open your mind and awaken your taste buds to a huge variety of crazy chicken wing flavors, like Buffalo Ranch, a perfect combo of ranch with just a little kick. Mango Habanero, the sweet taste of mango that's followed by the heat. Or Sweet Maple Bourbon, the taste is going to remind you of chicken and waffles. Now, that's just 3 of the 27 chicken wing seasons that you can get at the Crazy Coop. Now, you can try those 3 seasonings in a lunch special on 3 whole wings or 6 party wings with a regular fry and drink for just $9.99 at the Crazy Coop, 7199 Stage Road in Bartlett. And now open the Crazy Coop Express at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Now, some do like it hot, and if you're one, then try the Crazy Sweet Lemon Pepper Hot or the Crazy Suicide. But if you've got a more subdued palate, then try the 4 cheese, roasted garlic, or barbecue bacon. You want the sauces and seasonings without the chicken? Okay. Family owned and operated, the Crazy Coop. You'd be crazy not to visit the Coop. Looking for a new lawnmower? Golf Cars of Hernando has the Gravely line of zero-turn lawnmowers in stock, and they work on them. Looking for a new golf cart? Golf Cars of Hernando has Yamaha and Star brands of golf cars in stock, and they also service most makes and models of golf cars. Financing is available with applicable credit at Golf Cars of Hernando. Call today, 662-429-1566, 662-429-1566. Golf Cars of Hernando.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
According to 24/7, former UCF point guard Jalen Young in Memphis today on a visit with the Tigers. 6'2" guard. Guy could add some depth in the backcourt, especially with the loss of Jonathan Lawson, so we'll keep our eye on that for you. We're going to talk NFL with our guru. That's Russell Copeland. He's brought to you in part by the Eflin Insurance Team. Just like Russell, they both appreciate the Tigers. That is for sure. In fact, in the Eflin Insurance phone number, and you need to know this to be protected, you call 901-386-GRR. That's 4777. They do that because they are proud supporters of the Tigers. If you would like to really be taken care of, in other words, if you're going to do any kind of insurance, I'm talking life, auto, home, if you want people to know about you and really take care of you, you talk with Matt Eflin and his team because they do a collaboration. They get to know you and then protect you according to your budget. Same thing with mid-size and smaller businesses. That's their expertise. They get to know you, your employees. They forecast your product out over the next few years. What is your budget? And then they protect you. Again, that number, 901-386-GRR for the Eflin Insurance Team. Russell Copeland tonight. It's like Christmas night for many. It's draft night, and the way I see all these consensus mock drafts, Bryce Young's going first to Carolina. 4 of the first 5 picks are going to be quarterbacks. Do you buy that? Good morning.
I do not. I do buy that Carolina will draft Bryce Young, the quarterback from Alabama. I think pretty much over the last couple of weeks, I think the strong majority consensus opinion is that he'll be the number 1 overall pick. And I do have the other 3 quarterbacks going in the top 12, top 15 picks. But number 2, I think that D'Amico Ryans, the Texans have the 2nd pick. I think they go defense. I think they go Will Anderson Jr. From Alabama, the edge. And 3rd, I think the Cardinals will pick Paris Johnson, the Ohio State offensive tackle. Yeah. And I'm going to say 4 is where C.J. Stroud will get picked up from Ohio State. Because I definitely don't think that the Cardinals will pick a quarterback in the top 3. And I look at the Texans and I look at how...
Hold on before you say that. I've seen 2 or 3 different mocks that think Tennessee will make a trade with Arizona to flip-flop and that Tennessee will go after a quarterback like C.J. Stroud. Any chance in your mind that could happen?
I think trades are definitely possible. But as of now, if there isn't a trade, I think the Titans could do that. I have the Titans at 11 picking Anthony Richardson at quarterback if they do not make the trade. But I can see them perhaps maybe moving up. And we're talking about these quarterbacks, these top 4 quarterbacks. I see the Texans waiting at 12 and get the pick from the trade with Cleveland and go ahead and get Will Levis at 12. That's how I pick the quarterbacks. But your Bears at 9, I think they get Darnell Wright, the offensive tackle from Tennessee.
I hope they do because in some of the mocks I've seen, they're going to go with Jalen Carter, the defensive end from Georgia, and I think they need to go with an offensive lineman to protect poor Justin Fields. Mm-hmm. Some people have Tyree Wilson, the defensive end from Tech, going higher than Will Anderson. I think I'd go with the Alabama linebacker over that defensive end just for a sure thing because it seems to me that Anderson is a sure thing. What's your sense of Tyree Wilson?
Well, when I look at Tyree Wilson, I think he's in the top 10. I got him going 7 to the Raiders. Edge rusher going there. When you look at Jalen Carter, I have him going 5 to the Seattle Seahawks. The defensive tackle from Georgia, I know there's been some questions off the field issues, but I still think he's a top 5 pick. Seattle wants to get back to that defensive side where they were so dominant years past. I think they're going to concentrate a lot on the defense side of football.
How would you rate this draft? Is it a good one, a great one, fair, average, mediocre? How would it go?
I think it's kind of spotty. I think it's a solid draft. I think it's good in some areas. I don't think it's deep in a lot of areas as far as the offensive tackle. It's not quite as deep as it has been before. I think even when you look at the quarterbacks, I think all of these quarterbacks kind of have question marks. Even when you look at Bryce Young, you look at his stature, you look at his height. Anthony Richardson, he's very good as far as athletic, but he hasn't played a whole lot. You look at Will Levis. He's been hurt a lot, in particular this past year with a toe in his shoulder. The year before, he was better. So I just think overall it's kind of spotty, but I do think it's a solid draft.
All right. You've been a busy guy. You had a busy weekend. You were involved in 2 football broadcasts, one the spring game for the U of M, Friday Night Stripes. Then you hoofed it to Birmingham for the Showboats and the Birmingham Stallions. Let's start with the spring game and talk a little bit about what you saw that you liked and what you saw that you're worried about.
I think it was a solid spring practice, especially when you look at the downpours of the rain. Just looking at the quarterback position, I think just looking at Tevin Carter from athleticism, he has a very strong arm. The ball comes off his hand really fluid. His stature, how he gets outside the pocket, he looks to throw the football. It just reminds me of the stature of Aaron Brooks. Now, as far as inside the X's and O's, as far as missing reads and things of that nature, of course, I do not know that. But just looking at him throw from a physical standpoint looked good. And also, Simeon Blair, I really want to see this young man. I think that he could really be a good addition at the cornerback position once the season starts. Demir Blankency, the wide receiver from Cincinnati, Ohio, he caught a long pass actually from Tevin Carter, looked very well in that aspect. And Sutton Smith looked very explosive. You could see the vision, you could see the quickness, you could see him get outside of the tackle. He had a very long run. So those guys there kind of stood out with me. I really don't know in depth of the offensive line and the defensive line, the interior alignment. I think in a controlled scrimmage, you really did not get a chance to get a feel for those. But those are just some guys that just kind of stood out for me in a controlled scrimmage.
Yeah, it's hard when you're splitting up a team. Like if you played ones versus twos, you'd at least see what the first offensive line might look like. I think that is going to end up being the key. I think moving Greg Rubin to safety, that they're going to be better on defense. I think Kenton Arco will have a big year. Hamilton could be terrific up front. And I think the biggest question mark is if you give Seth Hennigan or Tevin Carter, for that matter, time, and you got an offensive line that will allow Sutton Smith or Duck to run, then you're going to have a good year. That, to me, is the biggest unknown.
It definitely is. It always starts up front. And just you talking about if you give him time, just looking at the weapons, for me, the guy that I'm looking at and I'm going to pencil in is Rock Taylor. I think this is a year for Rock Taylor. I think he should understand the offense. He has the big frame. He can catch the football across the middle. He can go deep. He did have a long back shoulder fade completion. But he's the guy on that receiver corps that I think can make a major difference.
I've been waiting for him. Yeah, look, he's got the body. He's got the speed. He's got to get the hands. He's dropped too many passes. If he doesn't do that, he could be a big factor. All right, before I run out of time, and I should remind everybody, Ryan Silverfield will be with us about 10:12 tomorrow morning. He'll be in our first segment. We look forward to hearing his assessment of his past spring practice. Got to ask you about the Boats. They had a great atmosphere in Game 1, had a chance to win against the number 2 team last year in the USFL, Philadelphia. They fell a little short. They went to Birmingham to take on the champs, and this one was very one-sided. 42-2 was the final. What is your sense of that performance?
Well, I think early on, I think the offense for the Showboats had opportunities to make drives. I think it was a couple of drops. There were some incompleted passes that I know that Brady White can complete. And when you're on the road playing against a really good team, the champions, you have to be to complete third downs. They didn't complete those third downs. Now you're 14-0. Then you ended up having a couple of turnovers. I just think this football team has to play complementary football. I think they are -3 in turnovers. They have not gotten a turnover on defense. And just the mental mistakes. I think they have to get back to fundamental football. You have to block, no missed assignments there. You have to throw and you have to catch it, and you have to tackle. I think those are things that are fixable. They can fix those things there. I think it'll be a tough game against the Gamblers, but those are the areas that I think they can fix, and I think Todd Haley would have them fixing that on both sides of the football. And I look to see them to edge the Gamblers, but I do think it's going to be a really good football game. Houston played very well last week, better than they did the first week. They actually lost that game 30-31 in the final seconds. Both teams are 0-2. So one thing for sure, one team will get their first win, and another team will be 0-3. So hopefully
all I could say is if they're going to have a tough time with the Gamblers, who are also 0-2, when they start taking on other teams that are above them. Woo! Hopefully they get their act together. I think they prove with Philadelphia they can be a pretty decent team in the long run. All right, last thing, we end with Aaron Rodgers because we've talked about him a bunch. So Aaron Rodgers finally gets his deal. The Jets make the move with Green Bay. It's basically a flop with picks, and there's other picks that are involved for Green Bay. But the Jets actually adjust their salary cap pretty nicely with the way this whole thing worked out. Most people think the Jets came out on top in this. What's your thought?
Well, absolutely. I mean, now, when you look at Green Bay, they have to go now with Jordan Love. He's unproven. And you look at Aaron Rodgers, he still has a whole lot of talent. I think he's asked for some things. I think he has those things. He has the wide receivers. He has Lazard, who he's comfortable with. I think they have a really good, solid offensive line, a good running game, and a very good defense. It's very reminiscent of when Tom Brady came to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not going to say if it's Super Bowl or bust, but right now the Jets are definitely in contention in the AFC East.
All right, my friend, relax. You only got one game this weekend at home against Houston. We'll talk next Thursday.
Thanks, Dave.
Enjoy the draft tonight. That is our man, Russell Copeland. He's brought to you in part by your home team credit union. That is Southern Security, and they are a big Tiger supporter as well, big sponsor of the U of M athletic department. 70 years. They've been really like part of the family, and that's what they talk about. It's like family, and they can't wait to welcome you. Here's what you got to do. Call 901-452-7900 because you'll talk to a person. Through your employee, you and your family members can now take advantage of incredible benefits, including free checking, low loan products, low rates for auto, home, and personal loans, lower fees than the traditional banks, a rewards discount program. There's credit counseling if you would like it, and that's free. Mobile deposits, video banking, external transfers, all these great things at a lower rate than traditional banks. It's like family. They're all about you. It's Southern Security, your home team credit union. We're back in just a minute. Jarvo is next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
It's time to hit the road in your new Kia from Gossett Kia on the Pike. You'll be turning heads and dropping jaws in a 2023 Kia Forte LXS. 41 MPG, now $249 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Or take your pick from all-around good-looking SUVs in 2023 Seltos LX all-wheel drive, $29.99 due at signing. Or 2023 Kia Soul LX, $27.99 due at signing, $269 a month, your choice, all 36-month leases. Plus reliability you can count on. Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Can't find what you're looking for? Let Bobby J order you a new ride today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte PE 581,348, MSRP 21,690, Seltos P 745,878, MSRP 24,840, Soul P 7205,317, MSRP 22,250. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/30/23. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
WeatherGuard, the name that stands for unmatched security in truck boxes, is now making a name for itself on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series circuit. WeatherGuard is the official sponsor of the safety and security work crews at Speedway Motorsports tracks across the country. Engineered engineered to meet the demands from job sites to race sites. WeatherGuard truck boxes feature double welded seams, weather-tight seals, and high-security latches and locks. If it's a job worth doing, it's a job worth WeatherGuard. Learn more at weatherguard.com/truck.
Tired of running out of hot water? Get endless hot water with Navien tankless water heaters. Enjoy the most luxurious hot shower even after you've run your dishwasher and finished loads of laundry. And thanks to their energy efficiency, you can save big too on utility bills. That matters. Right now, save hundreds on a new Navien tankless water heater with local utility company rebates and federal tax credits. Find the name of your local Navien contractor at tanklessmadesimple.com, tanklessmadesimple.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
I have been saving this story for my guy, Jarvis Greer, because we got plenty to talk about. We could talk Grizz Lakers, obviously. He's an ambassador for the Showboats. We got to talk a little bit about that like we just did with Russell. But do you realize there was history made by a Memphis team last night, Jarvis Greer?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the boys from Beale Street.
Yes, I am.
901 FC.
They beat Atlanta United in the U.S. Open Cup, which, by the way, is the longest-running soccer competition in America. I think it goes back to, like, 1895. Where,
yeah, way on back there. Uh-huh.
And all these teams of all levels get to play. So Memphis usually plays like a USL, what do they call that, USL 1? Because Memphis is in USL Championship. They usually play a USL 1 team. They beat them, and then they play a MLS team and lose. Not this time. First time ever. They beat Atlanta United 2-1, and they did it in extra time. They were behind 1-0 in the game. And Knight Pickering, that little 18-year-old, remember that bicycle kick he had in his debut?
Yeah.
I think
he had a first-timer off a cross that was absolutely amazing.
And that's his second. I think that's just the second goal in his career at this level. But it's the winner over an MLS team. First time that a 901 FC team has ever beaten an MLS team. How about that?
And they're playing Atlanta United in Atlanta. And, Atlanta United has been very good in a very short period of time. They were in USL they had another name before they called them Atlanta United. My son played in USL for 5 years, and he was with Colorado Springs when they played in USL Cup and made it to the third round, and they played the Colorado MLS team. Of course, when you play those games, you're on the road because they're not coming to you.
Right.
And they lost 2-1, but it was a great atmosphere. It was in their stadium, and they take these things seriously because the U.S. Open Cup, like you said, it's the longest-running tournament, soccer tournament in the United States, and it has, like every level of soccer is involved.
Right.
It'd be like if they had like this in baseball, they would, like the Redbirds say, they might play a single A team, they might play a double A team. If they win and advance, then they would play a major league team. They could play the Cardinals or the Yankees or whoever, and if they win, that's quite a feather in your cap. So congratulations to 901.
Well, here's what I think.
That's just a tremendous
they ought to go like Europe. We ought to have relegation now. 901 FC should be in the MLS, and Atlanta United should go down. I think they actually have a USL championship, or they did.
I'll tell you this. That money for the new soccer stadium, that's real. And, because USL has said that all their teams have to be in their own soccer-specific stadiums by 2026. And also, not unlike the NFL or Major League Baseball or any other major professional sport, MLS, they love having teams in close proximity because it allows for rivalries and for fans to travel back and forth.
Right.
So, Nashville was in USL, and they were promoted to MLS. And but that would be a tremendous rivalry. Then you got up the road in St. Louis.
Wait, are you telling me that you think 901 FC is getting in the MLS?
I'm putting it this way: the people that own 901 FC, they got one of those guys that's a part owner of the Yankees, and they've got several. They got deep pockets. Put it that way. And they didn't get into this not to be forward thinking, with the future in mind. Will it ever happen? I don't know, but that's part of the plan. They got the future in mind, and you don't go out and try to, lobby for getting funding for a new, a soccer-specific stadium, your own stadium, if you don't, have ways to fill it.
Well,
and the plans originally for this stadium are expandable.
Right.
It's built to be expandable.
Hey, here's my thing. I hope you're right. You know that. Let's see where the money is coming for the funding, because at this point, I know FedEx Forum's getting a redo. I know the Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium is getting redone. I don't know if any of that money that's been upgraded for AutoZone Park came from any of that money. I don't think so. I think that might be Peter Freund who's putting it up. But or maybe there's some money from the city. I don't think it came from the state.
And it's Freund that's part owner of the year.
But I haven't seen anything where I know for sure money's coming for that soccer stadium. And I know it's a dilemma because, as you said, USL Championship wants their teams in soccer-specific stadiums.
They are requiring their teams to be in soccer-specific
Right. And the Cardinals don't want 901 FC in their stadium. They don't, because that switchover.
They tolerate it now because they don't own the stadium. City and county own the AutoZone Park. And so they would be – and it's cost buku money to resod the field between games. They got to take out the mound, and they got to do something with the warning track, and they just resod the field.
It's like $10 grand a game. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. All right. You are the most positive dude in the world. So I'm going to ask you point blank. Are the Grizzlies going to win in L.A. and send it back for Game 7 Sunday night?
See you Sunday. See you Sunday. That was the crowd was chanting as we were going out of the game last night. Come back here to Memphis, 191 deal, baby. And if you look at it, if you look at point differential in this series, the Grizzlies actually have scored more points and have had the lead longer in these games than the Lakers. It's just that, the Lakers, they won 1 by 10 out there in L.A. when they had the Grizzlies had that awful first quarter, and then the other game went to overtime. And the Grizzlies have 2 double-digit victories at home and here in Memphis. So it's not impossible. I'll put it that way. And if you look at it, if they, the Grizzlies didn't do anything last night in the win against the Lakers last night at FedEx Forum that they haven't done all season. What they haven't done all season, or what they haven't done here lately, is win playoff games on the road. They haven't won really big games on the road where they were an underdog, and that's one thing they're going to have to break it. They're going to have to break it out in L.A. But if they just play the way they play, it's possible. I think you would even agree to that, Dave, right?
Well, I like this new lineup with the four smalls because I think it tired out the Lakers. And L.A. looks small. Look, the Lakers are 4.5-point favorites. The Grizzlies have been a terrible road team. So is Golden State, and they won last night, and they turned that series with Sacramento around.
Yeah, the Golden State was one of the worst road records in the league, and Sacramento had one of the best home records in the league. And Golden State finally came through. So it's possible. I'll put it that way.
There's one other story I haven't talked about, and I want to get it in real quick. I'll get it in with you. I don't know if you've seen this, but Giannis's response to a reporter's question about this year, because they were the number 1 seed in the East, and Miami, by the way, became the very first play-in team in history to win a series. LA would become the second if they won. And so Giannis was asked if this was a failure this season. His response, bringing up Michael Jordan, who won 6 titles but didn't win 9, right? 9 times he didn't. He goes, is that a failure? He asked the reporter, if you don't get promoted this year, is this year a failure for you as a writer? I mean, he is such a great, smart spokesman for the league. I thought it was one of the great responses I've heard in a couple of years.
Some people are saying, well, the question, is it a bad question? Maybe he could have phrased it a little differently, but the response was spot on and excellent. I mean, he went left, right, up, down, and center with every reason in the book on how, whatever you do in your profession, do you take care of your family? Do you, you provide for your loved one? Do you do this? Do you do that? And the Michael Jordan response, that was excellent. You can't say everybody wants to win, but he said, sometimes you don't win, and sometimes the other guy wins. Sometimes you get a break, sometimes you don't. Does that make you a failure? No, I mean, there are some hardliners that say, if you're not first, you're last, like Ricky Bobby, in Talladega a lot.
Right.
Nice, but it's not like that. You cannot live your life like that.
No, and I also thought he was starting to get emotional, and he goes, "Oh wait, no, not personal." He's talking to himself, and
don't make it personal.
Right?
Don't make it personal.
And I you know what? I've always liked Giannis, but he really won me over forever. I think with that. All right, last thing, you got 1 minute, and 1 minute.
Yep.
Give me your take on the Tigers spring game.
On the Tigers spring game, I thought we saw that Coach Ryan Silverfield. He said before the game he's got confidence in Sutton Smith, running back, and we saw Sutton Smith on display. I call him Sutton Smith because he can be electric. He's got moves. He's got speed. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but Memphis has had some running backs before that aren't the biggest people in the world.
D'Angelo Williams wasn't a giant.
D'Angelo's not that big. But I think Sutton Smith's more along the lines of a Kenny Gainwell as far as body type.
Yeah.
But he can definitely tote that onion. He can definitely tote the mail. And so if you get any kind of offensive line play,
that's the question.
Had to reshuffle some things and bring some new people in. If you get any kind of offensive line play, I think Memphis will be able to run the ball better. You don't have to depend on Seth Hennigan being your leading rusher.
As always, on the money with your time. Thank you, Jarvis. We'll talk next week.
Hey, man, showboats this weekend, 6 o'clock.
Got it.
The Gamblers.
You got it.
Somebody's got to win.
Yeah, they're both 0-2. There will be a winner. That is for sure. He's our man. That's Jarvis Greer. He's brought to you in part by Ken Garland. Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Ken knows you're making a major commitment, which is why he's going to work closely with you if you're building that dream home. He'll talk with you. He'll share ideas with you. He will make sure that anything he does is going to be quality, on time, on budget. And he means it. He's really fun to talk to. He's one of those guys, sees little details, big picture, all at once. First, go to the website, kengarland.com, and you'll see for 70 years now, 2 different generations of Ken Garland, what this company has done, what they have built. And then call 751-1632. Maybe you got land in your family and you're not sure how to utilize it. He knows. Maybe you're looking for land. He's got it too. He's got it all. And maybe you want to stay where you are, but you want renovation. I call it renovation with innovation. Nobody's better than Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Ryan Silverfield, 10:15 tomorrow. Then Andy Schiffman and the rest. We'll see you then. Have a great day, everybody.
Homer Skelton